Hey everybody, Josh DiStefano here, pianist, composer, writer, teacher, and today I'd like to talk to you about why I joined the U.S. Army Band. You may find this hard to believe, but I didn't always look like this. In fact, for the past 23 years I looked a lot more like this. I would like to mention that this is not an endorsement for the Army or the band program. I don't get any commission. I personally do not care if you join or not. It was a great job for me. Most of the times I loved it. Certain days I wanted to poke out my eyes with sharp pencils, but whatever. It worked out for me. All right, so here's a picture of me back when I had everything figured out. This was college, the mid-90s, and here I am after a gig with my band. And so my plans for life after college were easy. 1, become a rock star. 2, score movies. I was a film scoring major in college. I had some connections through my dad to the film industry, and so that was pretty much it, or maybe a combination of the two. So after I graduated from college, my roommate and I packed up all of our stuff in a U-Haul van and moved it all the way from Boston, zing, down to LA, which is where I was from, and from where our previous roommate, who was also in the band, was already been. He'd been there for about a year, I guess. And I started looking for work. Our band had more or less dissolved at this point because even though we were the 3 principal songwriters, we didn't have anything going on, and everybody else was either back at Boston or somewhere else. So I was living at home. I'd managed to get a few, I think one interview through my dad, and I showed him my reel of stuff, and I went in and what'd you think? I said, we weren't that impressed, which of course was crushing. And then they told me I needed some more experience. And I used to tell people when I was traveling around on tour for the Army that I needed more experience, and I couldn't get any experience because nobody would hire me. It was a bit of a catch-22. And this is true. But what's also true is I was pretty terrible at this point. I'd been playing for maybe about 6 years. I think I started playing about 3 or 4 years before I went to college, so maybe it was about 7 or 8 years at this point. I could write a melody. I could barely play the piano. I was just not that good. I thought I was pretty good, but in reality, looking back, I was not. Also, in all honesty, I don't think I was always the best student in college. I spent a lot of time practicing or learning quite as much as I should have. I'm living at home. I've got no prospects. I've got no job. The student loan people were sending me things in the mail, and I'm just feeling stuck. Days are going by, and I needed to do something. I needed work. So the 2 options that I saw for myself at that time was A, I could go become a public school teacher because LAUSD was desperate for teachers at that time, and they would hire anybody with a degree, and I didn't want to do that. Or I could go work at In-N-Out Burger, which was also hiring right down the street. And they do have delicious burgers. No, Five Guys is not as good. Get out of my video. So the Army Band comes along and they offer to pay off all my student loans, get me out of the house, and let me see the world for a 3-year contract. And it was pretty much a no-brainer. I had heard they had places like Japan, Germany, Panama, Korea. So I said, okay, I'll sign up. Get me as far away from here as possible. And the only place they could offer me that was overseas was Alaska, because according to the Army, Canada is an ocean. And that was pretty much it. The following January, I shipped off to basic training in Missouri, which was cold and miserable. A couple months later, I went to the Army School of Music in Virginia Beach, which was a lot better at first, but after a while, you got tired of it. I was learning a lot, but it was a lot like being in college if you somehow sucked all the fun out of it and were just left with everybody crammed together and studying, and there was more yelling, a lot more yelling. And after 6 months of Army music school, I finally shipped off to my first band in Alaska, and that's where my real education began, because I had time to let the knowledge I had gained in college filter down from my head into my fingers. All the musicians in the band were a lot better than I was, and they were stuck with me as the only pianist. And so they took me under their wing, and they showed me what they knew, and they corrected me when I was doing something stupid. And it was great. I can say everything good that has happened to me was based off that decision to initially enlist in the Army Band. If you'd like to learn more about my experiences in the Army Band, I wrote a lot of blogs about it, which I've put on my website. I will put the link down below. And if you like what I'm doing here, please give the video a like. Please subscribe. Leave me a comment if you like the band, if you like the Army, if you don't like it, whatever. I'd love to hear some of your thoughts. And I will see you next time.